There's a lot known about all of that, but what I'll tell you, I mean, what I think is kind of the most important part, which is, yes, it's very important who does what. However, because going back to this issue of why I made this claim that biology doesn't take the past too seriously, and what I mean by that is it doesn't assume that everything is the way it's expected to be, right? And here's an example of that. This was done. This was an old experiment going back to the 40s, but basically imagine it's a newt, it was a salamander, and it's got these little tubules that go to the kidneys, right? This little tube. Take a cross section of that tube, you see 8 to 10 cells that have cooperated to make this little tube in cross section, right? So one amazing thing you can do is you can mess with the very early cell division to make the cells gigantic, bigger. You can make them different sizes. You can force them to be different sizes. So if you make the cells different sizes, the whole newt is still the same size. So if you take a cross section through that tubule, instead of 8 to 10 cells, you might have 4 or 5, or you might have 3, until you make the cells so enormous that one single cell wraps around itself and gives you that same large scale structure by a completely different molecular mechanism. So now instead of cell to cell communication to make a tubule, instead of that, it's one cell using the cytoskeleton to bend itself around.